Alright, let me provide you a little tour here of the shop and these Unisaws and the parts that you're interested in. Here you can see I've got a whole bunch of Unisaws that I'm working on restoring. I've got all these at an auction. Repainted the cabinets and sort of gutted them, cleaned them, took everything apart and back together and replaced what was necessary. These are from the 40s to the 60s right here. And the main thing that changed in the 40s to the 60s with the cabinet is the opening on the side of the cabinet. By 1960, definitely, this is the opening on the side. It's a square opening. Whereas, as you know, the older models have the oval opening from the 40s and 50s. I'm not sure exactly what year they made that change. Besides that, there are very little changes to the internal working parts. Castings are exactly the same. Interchangeable. They did change the way these locking knobs work at some point. The older models from the 30s and 40s, there are two keys that push out in this shaft when you tighten it to lock the shaft. Later they went to sort of round shaped bullets that lock the shaft. Besides that though, much of them are interchangeable. As far as the motors and pulleys go, as you know, the older motors are the bullet style motors that are 1725 RPM. This is a three-phase one here that I took off of one of the machines. Here's the pulley here, the 5.5-inch pulley, 3 shiv for 3 belts, and then the key for the keyway. The set screws in there as well. The 1960 Unisaw had this motor. This is a 2 horsepower motor. By this point they went to 3450 RPMs with the smaller pulley. This was also a 3-phase motor that I took off to replace with a single phase. The single phase motors that I'm using here are Leeson 2 horsepower made in the US, and then you can see here the smaller pulley. My restorations are functional restorations. They're not period as you're trying to go for or the exact vintage, so I don't make a claim to be a purist when it comes to my restorations. I'm going for more functional. Then back in here you can see a Unisaw from the 80s, and then over here from the 90s that I'm working on. As far as the guard that we were talking about, this is the Uniguard. This is, I don't believe this has ever been used. I purchased it at an auction. For years this is the model that they made. I don't know what year this one was made, but the mountings are all the same. Here you can see a picture of how it mounts. It actually mounts to the cast iron tabletop on the bottom side. If you were to go to the back left corner underside of the main section of the table saw top, there will be 2 bolt holes there. Here I can show you on this piece here. 2 bolt holes right here that the bracket that comes with the Uniguard bolts to. This bracket right here bolts right in, and then the arm mounts into there, and then you have the finger guard, as you called it. And then with the Uniguard also comes a pop-up splitter, which gives you the riving and anti-kickback feature. This was a pretty impressive addition that they added to the safety features of the Unisaw over the years, and it bolts right up to the old Unisaws. There's 2 holes here on this trunnion piece, and those line up, and so there you have a splitter. It's not a true riving knife. It does not raise and lower automatically with the blade, but it does tilt because it's mounted to this piece that tilts. And then it is a pop-up splitter that you can push down if you're doing a different type of cut, which is a nice feature. It just pushes right down through this bracket. You can see here's the kickback pieces as well. So that's what I have available. Let's see what else here. Here's a bunch of the fences I'm working on, microset and jet lock fences as they changed those through the years. All sorts of little odds and ends. I don't know what else you're needing. There's an old red Saturn knob, some different bolts and fasteners for fences and other things. Got some leftover fence parts here from sort of making 3 fences work out of 4 with a couple that were broken. And then also over here I've got several Allen Bradley starters that I'm working on. I think this is the same type that you had, sort of the classic Allen Bradley, only this one's painted orange. And then also I've got an old Unisaw switch plate here. So if any of those other things interest you, let me know.